consumer demands, but also to do so in a sustainable and inclusive manner. In a recent report by Accenture, it was found that brands that embrace diversity and inclusivity are expected to be 1.7 times more likely to be viewed as innovative and 1.8 times more likely to be seen as relevant. This conclave is dedicated to exploring the multiple facets of this critical intersection. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of KIIT University and KIIT School of Management, I, Prithama Bag,
and I, Shantini Sarkar,
welcome all eminent guests from corporates, dignitaries from the university, faculty members, and student participants to the 14th National Marketing Conclave of KIIT School of Management on the theme Building a Sustainable Inclusive Future, addressing consumer priorities in the new era. To begin, I request all dignitaries to come to the stage and light the inaugural lamp.
thank you, dignitaries. I request the guests to take their seat in the audience. Two leading universities of India, Kaling Institute of Industrial Technology and Kaling Institute of Social Sciences, were founded by Professor Dr. Achyuta Samanta, Member of Parliament, Lok Sabha. Dr. Samanta is a humanitarian, statesman, and one of the greatest educational leaders of India. For his pioneering efforts in the field of education, he has been awarded 55 doctorates and various national and international awards. KIIT University, having more than 30,000 students from 65 countries, is India's first 5-star rated university in the QS rankings of 2021. It is amongst the top 10 private institutions in India to have received the Institution of Eminent status by Ministry of HRD, Government of India. In the NIRF India Rankings 2023, KIIT was ranked 16th nationwide among public and private institutions in the country. KIIT has also been ranked in the 601 to 800 band in the Times Higher Education World University Rankings for the year 2023. Recently, KIIT was felicitated as one of India's most influential education brand 2021 to 2022 at the 18th Asian Business and Social Forum.
Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, KISS, is a fully free residential home for more than 80,000 students in special consultative status with the United Nations Economic and Council since the year 2015. KISS has been conferred UNESCO King Sejong Literacy Prize 2022 for its contribution to preservation of indigenous languages.
Excelling not only in terms of education, but also in sports and extracurriculars, 3 students from the university represented India in the Tokyo Olympics 2020, and 3 students represented India at the Commonwealth Games 2022. We are delighted to share that KIIT, along with its sister university, KISS, hosted the first ever Jan Jatiya Khel Mahotsav 2023.
KIIT School of Management, Bhubaneswar, is one of the top B schools of India. It has been awarded the Best B School of Orissa by Times Business Awards 2023 and Life Membership Award by Association of Management Development Institutions in South Asia.
Our knowledge partner for this conclave is Konclave, which deals with knowledge and business solutions. Konclave provides information, transformative business solutions which will help the new age business cope with present and future challenges in the areas of talent and human resource management.
The convener for this year's conclave is Professor Joydeep Biswas. Professor Joydeep Biswas, an alumnus of XLRI Jamshedpur, IIT BHU, teaches marketing in KIIT School of Management. He has experience in channel marketing, branding, and CRM while working for organizations like ITC, Nokia, and IBM. Professor Biswas has 16 years of work experience, out of which 9 years are in academics. Apart from teaching, he does consulting and advisory for companies in FMCG, consumer durables, banking and financial services, and tourism sectors. His interests include tourism, crisis management, and consumer behavior. Sir, please set the context for the conclave.
Thanks for that. Very good morning, esteemed guests, leadership of KIIT University, dear colleagues, and our lovable KIITians. When I was asked to set the context for the theme for the conclave, I thought, what should I be talking about? So I decided that I'll share that how did we arrive at this theme and why did we arrive at this theme. And the second question was how to do it. So I thought I'll do it what I do best, which is narrate stories, specifically marketing stories. So to decide or arrive at the theme, we thought, what do marketers do? Okay, what is the crux of marketing? The examples in the industry and the reference to the literature, academic literature, told us that at the crux of marketing is customer value. Okay? So what most marketers are doing eventually is creating customer value, communicating that customer value, and delivering the customer value. The next question was, if customer value is crux to marketing, then what do we talk about it? So we dug deeper. As a team, we said that how many types of customer values are there. Again, the reference to literature, theory, and practical applications led us that there are 4 types of customer value: functional, economic, social, and experiential. Okay? I'll ask questions, so be alert. So one type of value which marketers offer, the customer value, the benefit to the customers, is around economic, which is largely the monetary benefit that the customer can gain. Okay? Any examples that come to your mind? Any examples that come to your mind? Any campaign, any brand? Any example of economic value where monetary benefit is being offered by the brand? Talking about discounts. Any example? Any example? Sorry? V-Mart. Okay, that's a V-Mart or D-Mart, very good examples. Okay, then there is the Big Billion Day sale. The Big Billion Day sale. Okay, so that's an example of economic value. The next value we thought or we realized was around functional value. Okay? Yeah, so economic value, the functional value. Okay? So here brands or marketers talk about things like features. So it's not about money anymore, it's about whether the product has benefits, high quality, durability, longevity. Okay? Any examples that come to your mind? Yeah? Apple. Okay? Fair enough. So +2 in your subject for that answer. Right? So example of Apple or technological products like mobiles, laptops. So brands talk a lot about that. The next value that brands offer or marketers offer, they said that, okay, money is fine, we can give discounts, but for how long do we give discounts? We can give features, but the issue with features is that they get copied. So what is the other value that I offer? So then a lot of sharp marketers came up with a concept of social value, where the value or the benefit is not because of the product itself, but how does it help you in the society, okay? The social status, okay? Where, which could be about premiumness, respect from others, shaming, envy, jealousy. This is the value that the brands talk about. Any examples? Sharing, yeah, Raymond, Mama Earth. Okay? So a lot of social value. So example, Onida, neighbors envy owner's pride. So don't buy the TV for its features, but buy the TV because who will get jealous? Who will get the jealous? Neighbors will get jealous. So that's the value that you get out of it. Then they said, no, this is also not enough. We need to, build on this value system as marketers. We need to talk about value which is more inherent core, which cannot be copied. And then the marketer said, okay, experiential value, where the value emerges, again, not from the feature or from the society, but the experience it provides. Okay? So a lot of tourism brands, a lot of luxury brands talk about it. Okay? So experience of happiness, pleasure, joy. Okay? So that is the 4th value. But then this was again not enough. In the last 20 years or so, consumers have moved on. They have become more aware. They have become more conscious. Okay? So what we realize is that the consumers are not only talking about the benefit that a brand offers to them, but the benefit that the brand offers to the entire society. Okay? The benefit that the brand offers to the entire society, and more brands started talking about it around 20 years ago. And that is what the marketers call societal value. But it's not important for the brand. It is important, but what is more important for the brand is to talk about what it is doing for society as a whole. The concept seemed like, far off and a very Western concept for a long time. And there was this thought that, okay, this is so-called wokeism, and a lot of brands will not be able to do it or will not follow this. However, what consumers and the customers have been telling the marketers that this is becoming more and more and more important. And that is how we arrived at this theme. The societal value, what we see around, is that more and more brands are talking about societal value. Around societal value, a lot of discussion happens around sustainable inclusivity, which is what you will shortly hear our esteemed panelists talk about, our workshop guests talk about. As I said, that it seemed that it's a very Western concept or a far-off concept or so-called woke concept. So I told you that I'll narrate marketing stories. So I'll make this point using 3 examples, that how and why the sustainable inclusivity is becoming very, very central and core to the brands and for marketers. First is an international FMCG brand. Second is an Indian insurance giant. And third is the brand which I love the most. Okay? Let's look at some of these examples.
ये सिर्फ हमारी नहीं, देश की करोड़ों लड़कियों की कहानी है।
मैं है किस?
हाँ बुला रही हूँ। चलो भी चलो, जल्दी करो। ऐ की दीदी, साड़ी पहनाने की बात हुई थी ना, फिर वजन दिखाई दे रहा है।
अब इसमें भी दिखाई दे रहा है।
हुन तुसी जल्दी करो, लड़के वाले आ गए ने।
इससे ढक लो बेटा, जल्दी आ जा। मैं आजा बेटा।
अस्सलामुअलैकुम। आजा नूर, आजा।
फोटो में तो रंग साफ लग रहा था ना?
बेटा आप दोनों चाहो तो बाहर चाय पी लो। जा नूर।
सीढ़ी लगाकर बात करना पड़ेगा आपकी राजेश्वरी को हमारे लड़के से।
जोक्स अपार्ट, अपने बाल स्ट्रेट करा लेना, भाई को नूडल्स नहीं पसंद।
ये दाग
कब तक चलेगी खूबसूरती की ये बदसूरत परख? आखिर कितनी खूबसूरती काफी है? डव, खामियां नहीं, खूबियां देखिए।
So an American international global brand like Dove, a country which is seeped into consumerism, a brand which is a lot about consumerism, is also aware to inclusivity, is also alert to inclusivity. Inclusivity talks, when we talk about inclusivity, there's a lot of types of inclusivities. This is gender as well as physical inclusivity. The next example is of an Indian insurance giant which talks about financial inclusivity.
हाथों से मिलके हाथ रिश्तों की लड़ियां बुने, रीत दिवाली की ये रोशन फुलझड़ियां चुने, हर अमावस उजालों के जैसी हो, हर साल
ये तुम्हारे पटाखों के लिए।
थैंक यू दादी।
दिवाली ऐसी हो।
बस चलो, कहाँ जा रहे हो इतना जल्दी में?
पटाखे खरीदने के लिए। अंकल, आप दिवाली नहीं मना रहे?
घर से दूर कहाँ दिवाली बेटा?
रस्मों रिवाजों की लौ पीढ़ियों तक जले।
काफी देर हो गई, बच्चे नहीं आए अभी तक।
अरे जैदी साहब, बच्चों को देखा क्या?
पता नहीं कहाँ रहे।
अरे शुक्ला जी, ये बच्चों को देखा क्या? बच्चे तो पटाखे लेने गए थे, आ रहे होंगे।
आ रहे जल्दी करो।
रिश्तों के कंदील में
तो ये रहे बच्चे।
रोशनी
पटाखे?
मिले,
पिंटू,
जगमगाता दिया हर हथेली पे हो, बागबां का सबक हर पहेली पे हो।
आपका घर दूर हुआ तो क्या हुआ, ये भी तो आपका ही घर है।
हर साल दिवाली ऐसी हो, हर साल दिवाली ऐसी हो।
हम जानते हैं परंपराओं के बीच परिवार बसते हैं और हर परिवार की सुरक्षा हमारी परंपरा है। HDFC Ergo, take it easy.
So that's an example of Indian insurance giant talking about financial inclusivity. When I started the examples, I said there are three brands. One is an FMCG global brand, one is the Indian insurance giant, and the third is the brand which I love most. Any guesses? Huh? No, not Nokia. No, not IDC. Come on. We were talking about inclusivity. In the entire world, you will not find an example better than KIIT University, KISS University, founded by our founder, sir, which not only talks about inclusivity, it delivers, it is there as a practice, it is the heart and soul of our brand. And it's an inclusivity which is not restrictive to one aspect. It's a great example of financial inclusivity, regional inclusivity, gender inclusivity, cultural inclusivity, geographical inclusivity, anything. You won't get a better example of inclusivity than KISS that our founder sir has established. I'll not talk more. I'll just let you see what has happened here, the phenomena.
Located in Bhubaneswar, Odisha, is the world's exclusive tribal university, Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, with several collaborations including special consultative status by UN Economic and Social Council. A slice of heaven where 27,000 tribal children pursue world-class education, from kindergarten to post-graduation, with residential, healthcare, vocational and life skills training to empower them, learning in their own style, their mother tongue. The little birds are nurtured with care and devotion and develop a capacity to aspire for a better future. There is food for comprehensive development and fodder for thought process. A touch of modernity as they grow amidst their tribal culture and heritage, embracing innovation by achieving excellence in academic and extracurricular activities, with equal emphasis on sport, a driving force of empowerment. A step towards implementing sustainable development goals by enabling and empowering generations for the last 25 years, making a stride for bringing tribal emancipation through holistic education. Welcome to Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, a home for 27,000 tribal children.
Can I have a big round of applause for what is happening at KSS and our founder, sir. So, quick recap of what we discussed for the young marketers sitting in the audience. There's customer value, which is at the core of marketing. There are types of customer values. Societal value around sustainability, inclusivity is not the future of marketing. It is the present of marketing. As marketers, if you think that you will do a campaign or you will build your brand around it 10 years, 20 years down the line, that's not true. The customer is way ahead of the curve, and this is something which is happening right now today. And I hope from the audience, some of you will go on to design and develop brand campaigns around sustainability and inclusivity, and on that day, you will think that the seed of the thought, the idea was sowed in the 14th National Marketing Conclave. Thank you so much.
Professor Dr. Sumita Mishra, Dean, KIIT School of Management, with us to welcome the guests. Professor Mishra is an alumnus of the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai, and she has completed her PhD from MDI Gurgaon with 15 prolific years of experience in academics. She has contributed to the research in the domain of organization theory, organization culture, training, transfer, and HR analytics, and has also presented papers in national and international conferences. Ma'am, we request you to welcome the guests.
Esteemed Pro-Vice Chancellor, KIIT University, valued invited guests and speakers, respected Vice President, KIIT University, dearest faculty colleagues, and my dear students, a very good morning to all of you. It is a pleasure on my part to welcome all on the occasion of the 14th National Marketing Conclave on the theme titled Building a Sustainable Inclusive Future, Addressing Consumer Priorities in the New Era. KIIT School of Management has witnessed many best practices over the years, and these practices attempt to focus on the vision of our honorable founder of KIIT and KISS, Professor Achyuta Samanta, to make education relevant and applicable to all. Annual conclaves are amongst these best practices which act as a conduit or a passage to connect the academia, the students, the faculties with our industry counterparts. We at KIIT School of Management host 4 domain-based conclaves in the areas of HR, analytics, marketing, and finance. For this year's 14th edition of the conclave, the overarching themes are based on 2 keywords which my colleague Joydeep has explained beautifully, that is sustainability and inclusivity, which are also the foundations of the KIIT and the KISS ecosystem. While we recognize the tremendous strides made by businesses world over, the debate lies in how to make these developments sustainable and our workplace a more humanitarian, humane place to do what we do every single day, every single hour. Now, the 14th Marketing Conclave has 1 panel and several workshops which are aligned to the broad theme of the conclave. This occasion is also doubly special to us as we take time out to present the Distinguished Alumni Awards to our very own for their achievements in the business world. In this year, we are presenting these awards to 2 of our alumni from the 1995-97 batch, and this is a small token of our appreciation for all the achievements that they have gathered since their convocation from this great institution. As the conclave promises to be exciting in terms of discussions that would ensue, I extend a warm welcome to our panelists, Ms. Nandini Chatterjee, Mr. A.N. Sasmal, Mr. Siju Narayan, Mr. Vishesh Sharma, Mr. Sishi Ranjan, and Mr. Akhil Minocha. The Conclave also has created forums for workshops whereby the students would interact in depth with our workshop facilitators, and I welcome our workshop facilitators, Mr. Siju Narayan, Mr. Vishesh Sharma, Mr. Sishi Ranjan, Mr. Akhil Minocha, Mr. Saikat Das. Actually, it's wonderful to have Saikat back with us here. Saikat is our alumni, and today he is back on the other side as a workshop facilitator. So this is a very, very warm welcome to him. Mr. Amitosh Pal, Mr. Vipul Rawat, and Mr. Shivam Singh. Thank you so much for being with us here. I once again welcome all and thank our guests for taking time out of their busy schedule over a weekend to interact with all of us. I wish the 14th National Marketing Conclave all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We are delighted to have with us Professor Tapan Kumar Panda, Pro Vice Chancellor, KIIT University. Dr. Panda has 28 years of experience of working with premium business schools in India like IIM Lucknow, IIM Kozhikode, IIM Indore, OP Jindal Global University, Narsi Monjay Institute of Management Studies as a professor of marketing. He has authored 20 books and numerous articles in management. Sir, please address the gathering.
Hi, good morning to all of you. Respected Dr. Samant in absentia, Mr. Samir in absentia, faculty members, those who are present here, and guests and dignitaries. That's quite a challenging decision to make, choosing a topic like this one, because there are two keywords which are here, sustainability and inclusiveness. If you draw a matrix, because professors are well with matrix, every time they draw a matrix here, if you draw a matrix, put sustainability on one side, and inclusiveness on the other side, you can imagine where you are and what is the challenge which this conclave has put all of you into. If you look at inclusivity as low and sustainability as low, you understand that this is non-tenable, right? Inclusivity low means there's a large difference in the class that you create, whether it is society or consumers, or whether it is a technology adoption. And sustainability is low. What does sustainability actually mean from a consumption point of view, from marketing point of view? That there are natural resources. You use these natural resources for designing products and services for your consumption. A sustainable picture is where this consumption level ratio is at 0 or 1, at the level of 1. So whatever is your output divided by all the inputs that you take, it should be 1. Then the world is sustainable. Unfortunately, if you go and calculate that, it stands at 1.5 today. So whatever we are consuming is 1.5 times of what the earth can produce today. And still the stage of exploration continues. And it's expected by 2050, we will be consuming 5 times of what the world can produce. You can imagine what kind of scenario going to evolve over a period of time. So the idea of sustainable consumption comes from that point of view, that ability of the earth to reproduce an amount that we consume, the gap is widening over a period of time. I don't wish to blame corporatization or government for that matter, but just to sensitize you, that's what we are in. For example, if you take everyone to become a vegetarian, the earth will become a brown place and there will be no green. We'll end up eating all green, right? If all of you become non-vegetarian, the earth will be a jungle. So you have to bring a balance between these two factors which you have got there. Now, you can't really go and exclusively say that marketing is responsible for this consumption, because there are other issues which are involved. For example, governance, public policy, and the international trade can be blamed for that part. Marketing is only a spoke in the big wheel that you have got there. Now, let's look at inclusiveness is low, but the sustainability is high. I think the world wants that way, isn't it? Most of the Western nations want in that way. That has been the history of last 50, 60 years or 100 years. that all the resources should be available with the fewer people, which is non-inclusiveness, exclusive to fewer people, and the world will become sustainable because they will only be able to consume. Think about the man in Tanzania, in a small village, who doesn't know what internet is, who has hardly access to electricity, and the world changes, and everybody wants to fly, everybody wants to have electricity, everybody wants to have air conditioning. How the world will be. So if you look at inclusivity, many instances are there where inclusivity will work against sustainability, right? Probably inclusiveness is high and sustainability is low is where we are now, because everybody talks about inclusivity. A part of governance through democratic process is responsible for igniting it. The developmental models which are being there across the world where they want more and more people to come above the bottom line is one of the ways where you look at that inclusivity should be higher, more and more people should come and have the ability to consume. But does that lead into a sustainable consumption is a question. Particularly sustainable consumption in the long run is a question there. So I hope workshops like this or conclaves like this should show you a direction towards inclusivity being high, means everybody should have the capability to consume or demand for products, and sustainability should be high where the earth, whatever can produce, you bring a balance on that part. I think such kind of long-term vision and strategy has not been built. Probably towards the end of my conversation, I'll give you 3 or 4 issues that you need to delve into. But then, since this is a marketing one, and where we focused on the idea of doom, where inclusivity is low and sustainability is low, towards the idea of greatness where both of them are high, you have to look at what the job the marketer plays. But before you decide what the marketer plays, blame the marketing professor. Because the marketing professor came to the class and said, oh, it's a mass market, profitability varies, 80-20 Pareto works. So why don't you go and slice the market and get the most profitable customer? Now inclusivity, it's a concept against inclusivity where you say you should only target towards most profitable customers. But then some people come back and say, oh, there's a large market at the bottom of the pyramid. Why don't we really go and look at the bottom of the pyramid? And then philosophers started asking question, if a perfume is being used by a professor, why it should not be used by a person in the village? If a shampoo is being consumed by an upper middle class housewife, why should this not be consumed by a lady in the village? So then the size of the package became smaller, sachets were being made, and distribution channel intensified, and products were made available at the rural markets. That's the second idea that the professor brought to the classroom, where he talked about inclusivity, but probably didn't focus on the sustainable side part of it. What kind of resources are being consumed in the practices there? That's the second lecture that you had, or third lecture probably you had in your marketing class. Then there were some other people said, oh, this is a market which doesn't look sustainable now or profitable now, but in future period of time, this will look more profitable for you. So keep on investing on the market. Forget about ROMI, return on marketing investments. And in future period of time, you will go and you will get profits there. People started investing in these kind of markets because they are expecting profits in the future period of time. That's what you call the lifetime value of your customer. So they taught you how to build lifetime value of a customer who may not look very profitable today, but you keep on investing so that in future they become profitable. The whole idea moved from profit to profitability, from those who can afford and you can target them, to those who cannot afford, to somebody who cannot afford now but can afford at future period of time. That was a challenge which marketing professor brought to you. I know that I have less time to speak on this subject which are there. So while they were targeting more to the marketing professors, they thought, okay, behavioral correlate is fine. In a behavioral correlate, you look at past behavior, current behavior, future behavior, look at the potentials and invest them so that they become a reality. But it's also important to look at non-behavioral correlates. Non-behavioral correlates where explain the state of being of the customers, not what they are likely to do. So you started including more customers into that box when you looked at non-behavioral correlates. That is how the world has grown. That's how the business has grown. But always imagine a scenario, because God is a communist, that's what I believe. So he has made everybody equal. So everybody has access and right to all the resources in this world. So everybody can demand for all that resources of the world. And there were few nations, they dominated, they controlled over the value chain. Professor talked about the values, they controlled over the value chain. And they wanted to have more control over that part so they can consume more. Now, after this war, we have understood how cold is Europe. You know that the war, cash crisis, and what is happening with this long winter, which Europeans have explained. Let me put a couple of things before I conclude my conversation. The first one is, imagine a scenario. I'll always ask you to do scenario building. Everybody wants to fly. So the whole earth is full of planes. If you go back to YouTube or somewhere, look at the flying routes of the world, you can see how many planes you can see there. But it doubles up to a large number. If that is something which is going to happen, one challenge that we are facing today is popularly called net zero flying. So what these airline companies should do for a net zero flying? What are the 3 or 4 strategies they should talk about? A lot of people talk about paddy cultivation is bad because it creates methane. So we should look for sustainable agriculture. So what are the things which are required to be done for sustainable agriculture? I'm throwing these points for further conversation to all of you. There are different kind of technologies which are being used. For example, healthcare technologies are essentially used to reduce the pain and suffering of the people, but there are technologies we call as growth fueling technologies. You know that technology evolves a trillionth of a meter today. It changes very fast. So what are these growth fueling technologies which are there, which you have to focus on? And then there is going to be a change in the urban real estate scenario. So as a marketer, how are you going to look at the urban real estate scenario? You know that they're expecting by 2030, the demand for office space in urban areas is going down by 38% because people are coming out with hybrid working models. So in scenario like this, when the urban demand for office space comes down, the balance space which is created, how are you going to make them sustainable in that part of it? So there is a new concept. Maybe some of you know this concept called marginal abatement cost curve. MACC. So today when you talk about sustainability, we talk about this abatement curve that talks about cost versus decarbonization. If you are following a strategy to decarbonize something, what is the cost of that decarbonization? If you have to have sustainable practices, you have to have decarbonization. If that happens, what you are going to do? Of course, I have left these 3-4 concepts with you, like net zero flying, sustainable agriculture, growth fueling technologies, urban real estate part of it. Specific to retailing, because most of you will be focusing on that part. I think Professor also talked about that part. There is a new phenomenon which is coming called zero consumer. So I don't know how are you going to handle this zero consumer. Who are these zero consumer? Zero consumers have zero boundary. First characteristics, zero boundary. They can search offline, buy online. They can search online, buy offline. So they are not dependent on a specific channel for procurement. They are omni-channel. They use across the channel. If you watch the consumption patterns, either there are people who would like to spend less or would like to splurge, right? So there is nothing called middle. So we call this as zero middle. In a zero middle, people are not interested in zero middle. For example, KIIT, you like to excel always and become a big school than stuck in the middle. So nobody really wants to stuck in the middle. So there is a less amount of customers in the zero middle. That's the second characteristics. The third one is from your personal life, zero loyalty. These customers have no loyalty. Of course, that's a transmission that you take from your personal life reflection to consumption reflection, zero loyalty part of it. And these consumers have zero patience. So if you're thinking that you will deliver a product at a certain point of time, probably they will switch and go on that part of it. So we call all of them together at net zero buying factor. Net zero buying factor because zero boundary. So it's a challenge for distribution channel. Zero middle. So the market gets bipolar in the design. Zero loyalty. So can't really go and design a loyalty program for this kind of people, calculate the lifetime value because they will switch. Zero patience because they want instant gratification. So you need to manage your logistics and distribution channel in that sense. And net zero as a buying factor. So they will be always looking for instant gratifications. These are some of the strategic challenges which marketers face today. I would like to listen to the speakers today, how their company or their research or as an executive, how they are going to address these challenges, how they are addressing these challenges. and what are the learning lessons on that part. For example, if you talk about packaging, and we talk about, oh, there should be a sustainable packaging, but you understand, just by doing a small change on packaging doesn't work in that sense. So there are deeper insights that one has to look up to. And sometimes there is a large gap between what is being preached inside the classroom and what is being practiced. Conclaves like this bring the practice to the classrooms. It gives opportunity for the faculty to relook at themselves, identify research gaps and develop solutions. And if they can develop meaningful and feasible solutions, the industry people will take it back and they will implement it. Otherwise, in the name of sustainability, in the name of protecting people, there are profit goals which companies pursue. So as an alternative thought, I leave with a small video, if you can play that video.
There they go, there they go, there they go, there they go. There they go, your dreams are gone today. All that
Thank you. So for the students, last few points. Our frontline needs flexibility. So today C-suite people realize that the frontline needs flexibility. Every team needs data science skills. Today it's not guess, it's more or less driven by data science. All of you need to build up that capability. Today, whatever growth numbers you talk about, they are not enough. For example, if you say you are growing at 30%, 40%, you'll see many CEOs turn their face away from you. They want to grow at 200%, 300%. There's a concept called growth hacking. And today, if you are a consultant or you are a marketing person, they always look up to you only for growth hacking, not for growth part of it. And it's important for a marketer to own the customer relationship than build the customer relationship only. And generative AI is something that will help you in creating things. But challenge is, how do you really build a society, a world, and a market which is inclusive as well as sustainable? I think there are a lot required for building a market which is inclusive and sustainable. Maybe that's the reason why everybody wants to go to moon or Mars or other part of the world. Then only it can become sustainable. But I'm pretty sure many students will work in this domain and professors will work in this domain. And they will come out with a lot of technology, including the climate technologies or balanced portfolio models. There are a lot I can talk about in this subject. But I would like to stop here and put this challenge to all the speakers that please show us what is a real sustainable and equitable world, not what is there in marketing campaign. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, sir, for your address. As part of the conclave, we had organized pre-conclave competitions, which were a huge success. There were more than 11,000 registrations from reputed educational institutions, which included 20 IIMs, 20 IITs, 18 NITs, and 100 other educational institutions across India, and 5 foreign universities. The winners of the marketing simulation are as follows. The first position is held by Team Vijeta, comprising of Prateek Anand and Saurabh Mohanty from IIM Shillong. The first runner-up position is held by Team Far Outs, comprising of Mohammad Fahim, Ashish Kumar, and Ragini Soni from IIM Udaipur. The second runner-up position is held by Team Stalwarts, comprising of Abdul Puman, Ashish Solanki, and Khushbu from IIM Lucknow.
The winners of marketing quiz are as follows. The first position is held by Pushkar Kumar from Christ University, Pune. And the first runner-up position is held by Shudeshna Kundu, IGNOU. Let's have a huge round of applause for them. Before we move forward, let's sit back and enjoy the Konclave video, The Voice of Students, made by Matrix, the marketing club of KIIT School of Management, in association with Schools Media Club, First Cut.
The theme itself, building a sustainable, inclusive future, addressing consumer priorities in the new era, is such an insightful and informative topic that I'm really excited to be a part of this discussion.
2022 Marketing Conclave was a great lesson to learn from. The insights shared by the guests were really helpful. I am thankful towards the organizer for making me a part of this process.
In Conclave, workshops are a great way for students to learn new skills and networks with industry stalwarts. They can also help students to explore their interest and passion and to develop their own unique talents and abilities.
Hi everyone. First of all, I thank to KIIT for giving me this opportunity to participate in 14th National Marketing Conclave 2023. I enjoyed a lot and I won the first position in marketing quiz.
I'm really thankful and grateful to KIIT School of Management for arranging such an amazing event, and it was a great experience for me. I will keep participating in such an event of KIIT. And I won the second prize. My name is Shudeshna Kundu and I'm from University IGNOU.
Hi, this is Saurav and this is Pratik. We are Team Vijeta from IIM Shillong. It was a good experience being a part of the 14th National Marketing Conclave in the segment of marketing simulation.
The competition was a very good experience. We learnt a lot about marketing and its various aspects, and we really enjoyed the competition. We are thankful to KSOM for providing us this opportunity. Thank you.
We are Team Far Out from IIM Udaipur. We would like to thank KIIT for organizing such a beautiful event.
My recent experience has been nothing short of transformative. I've had opportunity to learn, grow and face challenges head on, and even though it was a simulation, but it felt like a real experience. And this experience has equipped me with valuable skills like adaptability, resilience and effective communication with my team members.
Hope you all liked the video. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Priyanka Nanda.
And I, Nikita Parida.
Welcome you all to the panel discussion on the topic Consumer Inclusivity in the Age of Digital Marketing. We are delighted to welcome the moderator of the panel discussion, Ms. Nandini Chatterjee, Chief Marketing and Communication Officer at PwC. Ms. Nandini has over 3 decades of experience in brand strategy and marketing and is one of the 8 members in PwC's Global Network Communication Leadership Team that formulates the action plan for 157 countries. She recently featured on the cover of PR Commune as a powerhouse lady leader who has defied gender stereotypes. Under her leadership, the PwC Marketing and Communication team has featured as the 4th top communication team by Reputation magazine in 2023 and 2022. She is an alumni of Lady Shri Ram College, Delhi University. Later, she pursued PG Diploma from Department of Business Management, Chandigarh. She also did her leadership program from University of Bradford. Ma'am, please join us on stage.
Our next panelist is Mr. Amarendranath Sasmal, Head of Sales and Marketing Department at Shivora Machine India Private Limited, a subsidiary of Shivora Machine Private Limited, Japan. Mr. Sasmal joined L&T Demand as graduate engineer trainee way back in 1993 after graduating in mechanical engineering from NIT Kozhikode. He has been instrumental in the development of the eastern region for Shivora Machine and has the unique feat of leading the western region as well. He was inducted into the senior management group in 2018 and since then has been helming the sales, service and marketing of hydraulic and all electric injection molding machines, auxiliary equipment, die casting machines and machine tools both in domestic and exports market. Sir, please join us on the stage.
Our next panelist is Mr. Siju Narayan, Chief Experience Officer at Rex Emter Consult, a retail industry veteran, and has been a part of retail and consumer space in India for over 26 years. Mr. Narayan brings to the table an eclectic mix of business and technology. Thanks to his association with the blue chip Indian and multinational corporations like Godrej and Boyce Manufacturing Company Limited, Adidas India, Oracle India, Microsoft India, and IBM India and South Asia clients, with a focus on managing various aspects of demand and supply chain. He is an alumnus of XIM Bhubaneswar and pursued his engineering from Orissa University of Agriculture and Technology. So please join us on stage.
Our next panelist is Mr. Vishesh Sharma, Chief Marketing Officer at Bajaj Financial Securities Limited. Mr. Sharma has overall 16 years of experience. Prior to joining Bajaj Financial Securities, he worked in companies like The Hindu, Progressive Media Group, and he headed content marketing, PR, and strategic alliances at Angel One. Mr. Sharma was also the Chief Marketing Officer at Ashika Group and he is also a member of CMO Council. He pursued his Bachelor's of Arts on Mass Communication from Asian School of Media Studies. Sir, please join us on the stage.
Our next panelist is Mr. Shishir Ranjan, Founder Director of Farmisto. Mr. Shishir Ranjan is a certified MSP and Prince 2017 practitioner from Excelis UK. He was renowned for his relentless dedication to uplifting impoverished farmers across the country. He has been consultant agribusiness HP HDP, a World Bank project at Sutra Consulting Private Limited. Mr. Ranjan was National Head of the Rural Inclusive Business Group at ICICI Bank. He was also Director at Inclusive Finance and Development Associate and has been Regional Manager at ITC Limited. He's the alumnus of Banaras Hindu University and pursued his MBA from our very own KIIT School of Management. So kindly join us on stage.
Our next panelist is Mr. Akhil Minocha, Vice President Sales, Enterprises and Global Capability Centers at KSOM Software. Mr. Minocha is a business leader with over 2 decades of leadership experience and a track record in incubating and scaling businesses to drive revenue growth in software products and services, software as a service, technology and telecommunications. He was General Manager and Head of Marketing at Bharti Airtel and Videocon. He also was Regional Director at Intel Corporation, Associate Vice President and Business Head at HCL Info, the Vice President of Sales Asia Pacific at Persistent Systems. He completed his bachelor's degree from Bhopal School of Social Sciences and MBA from KIIT School of Management. Sir, please join us on the stage. Now I request the moderator of the panel, Ms. Nandini Chatterjee, to initiate the discussion.
I think before I get on to the topic, let me take the opportunity to thank Dr. Tapan Panda, Madam Professor Sumita Mishra, and Dr. Joydeep, who's invited all of us over here. Faculty, staff, I must say you are all very lucky. I was remembering my time when I was studying, and I'm seeing the kind of professors you have and the exposure, the talent you have. You're all really blessed. And we're looking at the institute. I think I can talk on behalf of all of us over here that you are doing some great work and a great opportunity being provided to all the students over here. And getting on to the topic, it's very critical today, yes, being inclusive, and the fact that you've picked up a topic like this. Sustainability still is being talked of, but I don't know how much of inclusivity do we really hear of. And inclusivity, we heard of gender. The Professor Joydeep spoke about what beauty is and do we really need to be. But there is so much more on inclusivity, you know, whether it is caste, it is creed, it is color, it is religion, it is economic disparity, it could be, underadvantaged people, it could be people with handicap. I mean, there is just so much. It could also be sexual orientation, and many of us, it could be age tomorrow. You know, there could be discrimination on age, whether we can do things or we can't do things. So there is just so much today in terms of discrimination, and are we using the potential of people to the maximum and widening our target pool? It has become so important. Some of the students, you may have heard of tone-deaf marketing. Has anybody heard of that? Do you know what is tone-deaf marketing? Come on, somebody. Have you ever heard of tone-deaf marketing? No? Okay, so the very word tone-deaf, I think that explains that while we market, why do we market? First is to raise awareness. You're aware of the brand funnel. I'm sure you'll be taught about that. So you market to raise awareness of the product or service. Once that is done, you want your product or service to be considered, then bought, and finally you want them to be advocates of what you're doing. But tone deaf is, if you are marketing, rather than, while awareness is there, rather being considered for the product or service, you actually are alienating your customers by the way you are talking about things. And I'll give you some examples, and maybe you may have heard of it from Joydeep, Professor Joydeep. I'll take inspiration to talk about stories. You've heard of Zomato. I'm sure all of you have heard of Zomato as a brand. Some time back, and I don't know whether it was in Bhubaneswar or not, but at least in Delhi and the NCR where I am, there were big hoardings, and you had MCBC written on that. Now, some of you would understand the lingo of MCBC and how it's actually what it means, but the way they explained it, it was McChicken, McBurger, and butter chicken. You know, so that is how they were explaining the two and relating it to food. But there was so much of hue and cry on social media. You've heard of Sohail Seth? Do you know who Sohail Seth is? He's a person who talks a lot about branding. He's very, very knowledgeable, a lot of white hair with him. And he took to Twitter and started talking about this, that Zomato's owner, the promoter, had to come forward and apologize that they had, you know, the unconscious bias of what they were putting was just not okay. But then what did they do? They did a double whammy. They went and put up again a video. It was a 2-minute video where for them they were talking about using waste sustainability for usages. But the way they put it across was, do you remember the movie Lagan? Maybe it was there when you people were just born. Do you remember Lagan? And you remember a character over there as Kachara? So what this Zomato brand did, they took Kachara over there and had him talking about waste usages. And you see the link? So how you're defining that somebody from a scheduled caste and linking to waste. There was such a hue and cry on this bias. And the Ministry for Underprivileged, the Commission for Scheduled Castes, actually filed a case against them. Now you look at what happens to the reputation of a brand when they go and they're trying to see how they need to resurrect it. And yes, again the promoter came forward and apologized, but once you do it, you can think, okay, maybe somebody got it wrong. But you do it all over again and all over again, you know that there is something really missing. And today we'll be discussing that internally, what is it that we do to sensitize people within the organization that how these biases, unconscious biases, should not creep in. Let me give you an example of a brand who's actually managed this very well. You know Nike? What is the tagline of Nike? Just do it. And then do you remember some time back, there was this talk and there was this case of policeman who took a black man, pinned him down on the road, and he actually died in the process when he was gasping for his mother. Do you remember that case? And then there was this whole motion about Black Lives Matter. So what did Nike do? Do you remember what was the change in the tagline they did? So they said, for once, don't do it. And they actually put that out to say, stand up for the fact that racial discrimination is just not what Nike stands for. And that is so important, and you can imagine that people appreciated it so much, and there was so much of, again, positive talk about Nike taking a stand. I remember in PwC, our US chairman, Tim Ryan, he has gone all out once again to put out his point of view on such issues which are affecting society. And you'll find slowly more and more corporates, businesses are now looking at the fact whether they should take up activism to some extent, because there's a tone from the top. And once, let's say, your promoter puts a tone from the top, everybody in the organization appreciates and lines up, and that's the only way that you can bring around a change in our society. So if we talk about the benefits, and I'm sure all my esteemed panelists will also share what they're doing and how it's benefited them, but let me take one or two things. One, like I said, if you have offending things that you put out, you are decreasing your pool of customers you will target. Your reputation is going to go for a 6. And I'm sure you've already done, you were studying that while reputation can go at one shot, building the reputation again is a huge issue. And I think Professor also spoke about the crisis management, and reputation going is a huge bit on crisis management. The other is the target pool. So for example, we were discussing in the morning that on visiting cards, it is for somebody who has sight. But what if somebody doesn't have sight? How do you manage that? And so many companies now on the back side are putting braille. So again, it's how they can be inclusive for people who are disadvantaged. I look at PwC to walk the talk, and we have simple things like we are there in multiple cities and multiple states. Each state decides what are the festivals and the holidays that we are going to be giving depending on the society locally which is over there. So these are all very simple things. For women, for example, there are a lot of things we do in terms of providing a creche, giving them flexibility, working from home. So all these little things go a long way in just including people who are not privileged or are disadvantaged because of some reason. One recent ad, have you heard of Kalyan Jewelers?
Yes.
Have you seen their ad where they show that there is a marriage going on and the lady is looking at jewelry and she's getting ready, and then you find that there is a call which the groom gets, and the parents ask, where was the call from? And he says that message aaya hai, abhi jana hai. Have you seen that ad? Then what happens? You find the packing is going on, message aaya hai from army, and you find that it's the army clothes which are getting packed, and then the next scene is the door opens and it is the lady who walks out wearing the clothes, and the husband salutes and says to her, take care, captain. So the bias you automatically had was that, okay, shadi ke baad immediately Jana is going to be the boy who is going to be dressing in the clothes for the army. But see how they've broken the barrier, the unconscious bias that we have, that they have had the lady come out in the clothes for army and going out. So I think with this, let's start our discussion, and let me join you over there. Can you hear me on this? Yeah. So, Brenda, let's start with you. What is it that you are doing in your organization? I know as B2B, there are certain limitations, but what are you doing which you feel is more inclusive, and how are you reaping the benefits of that?
See, as a B2B segment, we actually manufacture injection molding machines, and which we supply for domestic as well as exports markets. And our customers are also in Europe, US, and Africa, Southeast. So what we do is like some of the MNCs who start manufacturing plant in India, basically their workforce is also from their country. So recently we have come across a case like Ferrero Chocolates. They have a plant in India in Maharashtra. So their team had come and they had required some machines for manufacturing the toys for these chocolates. So for operational team, the language was the barrier. And normally for our machines, the control panel is normally, we use English as the normal medium. So in this case, to address their convenience and also bring more flexibility to them, so we had developed this language in Italian for them. This is one instance. And then in India, domestic market also, we have machines which we supply in north, west, south. So now normal language from north is Hindi, and normally the people who operate these machines are all unskilled operators. They cannot read English. So to address these operators, we had developed the language Hindi, so that through Hindi they can operate the machines. Similarly, in South, Hindi also is a big problem. So we have developed in Tamil, in Telugu, in Kannada, so that our reach to customers increase, and also awareness increase, and also we have more and more customer base. People have more flexibility to operate the machines. These are the two instances what I remember. And other than that, we also have, as a company to give to society, what we do is our machines need skilled operators. So skilled operators, they will not fall from sky. So we have to develop them. So what we do is we have a three-year program, operator program, development program, which is also certified by AICT. And we take the underprivileged people from all over India, like from North. We ensure that people from each state come, and basically from poor background, and they are just 10th pass. We take them, we train them, and they are, during the 3 years of program, they will be studying, they will be working, they will be getting a stipend. We take care of their boarding and lodging, everything. And end of the thing, when we do a screening test based on their qualification, some of them we observe, some of them our customers, far north, far east, wherever it is possible, they are observed. This is how we are trying to serve the society.
And I think that is really very creditable, because in B2B, there are limitations. You know,
Yes.
B2C, there is so much more you can do when it comes to inclusivity. But Vishesh, let me come to you. I mean, fintech as B2C, and what are you doing at your end? How are you being more and more inclusive, and how are you understanding the market to see where you can actually put in more inclusivity?
Sure. Am I audible? Yeah. Okay. So first of all, many congratulations to Dr. Panda, Dean Ma'am, Dr. Joy, and rest of the students, volunteers for making this fantastic event, you know, organizing this amazing show. It's seamless so far. And Dr. Panda, you called God communist, so he showed his disagreement there. So, anyways, coming back to the point, ma'am, about how we are thinking of inclusivity. Okay. See, first of all, inclusivity is not just about thinking of a man and woman as equal. You know, inclusivity is much more. It's about race, it's about gender, it's about socio-economic status, it's also about the religious beliefs. You know, typically what brands do, they think of it in a very, you know, as a tokenism. You know, that's how you know, things moved so far. In fact, the Hindustan Unilever Dove ad which we saw, Hindustan Unilever is the same company which also, you know, made a product called Fair and Lovely. Yeah. Okay. So unfortunately, they create those kind of biases in the first place, yeah, and then talk about eradicating them. So my problem starts with that basic fundamental, that why do you have to create this kind of problem in the first place? Coming back to us, when I got fortunate enough to enter the BFSI space, we realized that a lot of offerings are typically made in the fintech ecosystem, which is now we have, or from a BFSI, which we used to call it earlier, from a very male-dominated viewpoint. You know, we call women Ghar Ki Lakshmi, and we associate finance, money, the most with Lakshmi. But we all know, like we were also discussing off stage, we all know how the decisions, financial decisions are made in a household. Okay, somewhere it's our fault also, because as brands, we in the first place targeted men to be the decision makers. Slowly we are bringing in the change, even at Bajaj, or you know, at Angel, where I was working earlier. We launched a community building effort. It's called Lakshmi Mantra. Okay, Lakshmi Mantra, or now what we call it Invest 3, is an initiative which we have launched to focus only on women investor, creating products which are focused only on them, creating educational series which are focused only on them, also talking about products which are specifically, you know, even by Government of India, the initiatives which are specifically towards women investor. That's point number one. Again, like I said, it's not just about a man and a woman. See, fortunately, I was fortunate enough to visit one of our branches in Lucknow, okay, and I was there for 2 days. During those 2 days, I did not see, while I met a lot of consumers, customers who visited our branch, I did not see any Muslim customer during those 2 days, while Lucknow is a Muslim majority population. And that got me thinking that why, we did not have even a single Muslim customer. So I went back, came to Mumbai, spoke to a couple of my Muslim friends. This is so unfortunate that we live in India second after the Hindu religion. Muslim is the second biggest, largest religion in our country. As financial players, we do not have a lot of offerings from their viewpoint. They don't invest in stock markets. While we talk about retail participation, SEBI, government, ministry, everyone talks about retail participation. But how would you bring in the retail customers if you not catering to their needs? In Islam, betting is prohibited. In Islam, anything which leads you to kind of unsolicited gains is prohibited. So obviously, they will not invest in stock market. Okay. Now that was a very great insight I got from my branch visit in Lucknow. So right now, what we are doing, see. US stocks, we got into the system and a lot of players are talking about US stocks and US investments. But why aren't we talking about investments which are, aligned to the Islamic sentiments? So as we speak, we are in touch with a couple of people from fund houses from Middle East and trying to integrate them into our system. And this is an initiative which my team has taken so that we have those kind of offerings. So these are just some of the examples, we are trying from our end to make sure that we deliver on the kind of genuine inclusiveness, what we talk about. So yeah.
So I'll just add to what Vishesh said. So Hindustan Lever, the example you took, where it said fair and lovely. And then they got pushback on that. They made it fair and handsome because they realized in their research that it was a lot of men who were actually buying the product. They got further pushback. What does this mean? So then they made it glow and lovely. And then they still got a pushback because people could see through that they're not really getting it. And another one where you spoke about understanding the Islamic culture, there was a case, and you may have heard of it. Hyundai Pakistan put out a tweet saying #Kashmir Solidarity. Right. Now, can you imagine what happened in India? The kind of pushback they got on that it was trending saying do not buy Hyundai cars, buy Tata, buy any other car, but just stop buying Hyundai cars. And then they had to issue an apology and pull that out. And probably one of the reasons, and you said what could be the reason? One of the reasons could be either somebody was in a great rush to push it out, which happens when we are doing campaigns. We find that we are running short of time at the last minute. You've not been able to do your due diligence in terms of research, which we should have done. Whether they actually got diverse groups to come in and discuss and understand the market, so there can be so many reasons that can actually be there, and maybe we can discuss that also.
No, this is a very interesting point, Nandini, because what happens is, like you said, brands. Now we live in a 24/7 era. Okay, earlier it was all about you open your shop in the morning, you shut it in the evening, go back home. Everyone is in a comfort zone.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's 24/7. Okay, so what does it mean? Everyone is under pressure. The moment, in the evening when the Chandrayaan was about to land, while the ISRO scientists were there, on their toes, the agencies were on their toes too. They were about, they were hoping, they had prepared a landing and a failure creative. So both of them scheduled. The moment it happens, you have to just tuck and, post it. Yeah. Now this kind of pressure you are working under. So at times it's very, very, human. All of us are human to make those kind of error. But what is more important is to be sensitizing your ecosystem, the kind of partners you work with. In fact, there's a fantastic example I can think of. While we were launching our Meerut branch, okay, the social media team, and they had a fight. So I was just passing by the conference room. I saw my team, having a fight with the agency. So I just barged in. I said, what happened? They said, there was a disagreement on the copy. And the copy, I said, what is the copy which the agency has suggested? So the agency had said, Ram Ram Meerut, we are coming soon.
Oh.
Okay. So my team was fighting with them. Why are you saying Ram Ram Meerut? And the agency was trying to justify it by saying, in Meerut everyone says Ram Ram. So, and there was a no, then if that's the logic, why didn't you put out a post which said, Salam Alaikum when you launched a branch in Hyderabad? Okay. Now, these kind of nitty-gritties, I always believe that whenever you create any kind of communication, don't look at the big picture, because we are always prepared for big things in life. Unfortunately, we never look at the smaller things, the finer details. And this is what all of us, the brands, the agencies, the partners we work with, to sensitize ourselves about. So I think that should take care of a lot of issues. Yeah.
Totally. And I think today our effort again is, I mean, we have a long road to traverse when it comes to this, but our effort is that all of you who are going to be future leaders tomorrow are sensitized on this subject and are advocates for it. But just staying with you for a moment more, are you using technology, I mean, in terms of customer data collection?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the beauty of digital. When we were in a physical ecosystem, the kind of communication which went out and the kind of insight was very limited. Yeah. Now we live in a digital era, sustainable, Dr. Panda also used that term, Professor Joy also used this term. So sustainable, in our context and where I come from, we know the kind of margin pressures we are under, okay? So as marketeer, and this is for all the budding marketeers also, whenever you move out, try and build a sustainable business as well. That's very important. Yeah. Business which is sustainable and scalable. Okay. And when you think of this, of course, you have to look at a lot of organic play, and which means a lot of content, a lot of distribution, discovery. And when you use and try and build this kind of ecosystem, you need to have massive insight. In one Vice Chancellor also talked about data analytics. Now, the thing is, how we used to collect data earlier, vis-a-vis to now, has changed. Earlier, it was cookie-based, and a lot of privacy-related concerns happened, and consent became a very, very crucial component of your entire marketing strategy. Now, because of this consent, what has happened? I'm not sure now, but at least in 5 years' time, we will also have in Indian business ecosystem a role, a person who probably would be called consent manager. And his job would be to only ensure that, whatever communication channels we have or whatever ways through which we are sending out a communication to someone, are we compliant? Has the consumer consented for it? Yeah. Now, all of these things, how do you do it? Because, Bajaj being, we have a massive IT infrastructure in place, we have built our CDPs, customer data platforms. Yeah. Now, these CDPs, they collect first-party data. What we do, we take those insights and, build those insights into effective campaigns. Yeah. Say, for example, in our ecosystem, I'll give you a quick example here. Earlier, there was one campaign which was going out to your target audience, the retail customers. Now, you can segment it into traders, investors, and a fence-sitter. Now, within traders, you have people who are doing only F&O, okay, which is futures and options. Now, within futures and options, you have people who are doing only options. Now, these kind of, data insights, you'll only get from, wherever you're sending those communication pieces, and the data you receive through your CDPs, you build onto it. Now, in this kind of ecosystem, people like him help us, because as marketers, I can only talk about the what part of it, what I need. I need the data, I need those insights, I need to build this kind of CDPs. People like him actually play a crucial role in our effort, while we are at the forefront, so people see us more. But the back-end guys, the tech guys who build this kind of ecosystem, I think he can throw more light on CDPs and how we can actually dig deep into data insights.
No, I think with the Data Protection Act now, which is there, in any case, consent is going to become essential. But I think, Siju, coming to you as the chief experience, I mean, looking at experience that you give, and like Vishesh also said, he's talked about the what, but how do you actually go about making sure that the experience is such that there is no discrimination of any kind?
Sure. Before that, can I just spend 15 seconds each in terms of setting the stage a little bit? First of all, thank you, folks. Thank you so much for having us here. Having me here, it's the third time I'm here, and I love really, really coming out here, essentially because the kind of concepts that you drive, Professor Joydeep, I know, he was sitting there. Okay. And the participation that we get from folks like you is fantastic. Now, coming to the second point, Nandini, I'd like to address a couple of things that Vishesh mentioned, right? So Vishesh was talking about Fair and Lovely and then Dove, and we've been talking about multiple things. But I belong to that camp which will probably get me some kicks in the back out here, which believes that brands didn't suddenly wake up and get a halo movement and say, you know what, hey, let's be nice to people. Right? So what changed? Two things changed. We moved from the age of the product, wherein you will recall Henry Ford's, you can have any car that you want as long as it's black, to, till 3 years back, it was age of the consumer, and now we've very, very quickly morphed into the age of the inclusive consumer. Right? Now that speed of change, trust me, has caught all of us unawares. Right? Forget brands, it's also about the ecosystem. And we've been caught unawares because the inclusive consumer has multiple impacts. No, I guess everything's okay out there. So the inclusive consumer impacts almost every aspect of a brand's operation, set of operations, be it service, be it sales, marketing. And the other thing that has changed is the fact that data or information has been democratized. Right? Nothing is under the hood anymore. Absolutely nothing is under the hood anymore. Everything gets checked, rechecked, re-rechecked, and then whoever is trying to come up with a narrative gets mud on the face. So what's out? Very clearly, two things are out. One, stereotypes. We believe that a Fair and Lovely is needed to make someone fair. Right? That's out. Now two is that whole confidence in setting narratives, singularly. Now, both these are out. And what's in is the fact that you have to get the inclusive consumer as part of your entire strategy. And long story short, I'm finally coming to the point which you want me to dwell on. How do you get the inclusive consumer to be part of your strategy? Very simple. You need to know your consumer. KYC, right? It's often a bad word in the fintech world at some points in time, but then KYC is know your consumer. And if I look at it, what is this whole aspect of an inclusive consumer? Marketing profs, we've heard of segment of one. Now we talk about segment of one. Segment of one is nothing but treating Akhil as a person who is separate from Vishesh and making sure that all the characteristics of Akhil are taken into account, all the characteristics of Vishesh is taken into account. That's inclusive. Right? And if you need to know your customer, in today's age, you need data. And there are two types of data. Anyone who can tell me what are the two types of data? Sorry? Primary data and secondary data is one way of looking at it. Another one? Yes? Quantitative, qualitative, it was always there. Let's say you fill in a form vis-a-vis you posting something on Facebook. What are these two types of data? And it's the biggest headache for everyone in an organization. These are called structured and unstructured data. Right? Now when Vishesh talks about a CDP, which is a customer data platform, which is nothing but a single view of the consumer. Right? So if his firm wants to know a particular consumer, let's say if his firm wants to know Nandini, he needs to know everything about Nandini. The structured part of it and the unstructured part of it as well. Right? The unstructured part of it is, what does she like for dinner? Right? Now all that gets into what is now known as a customer data platform. But then again, these are topics on which you can actually take a single day each. But end of the day, you need to have a customer era platform. Which gives you the information to know your customer. You need to have processes and tools to glean information out of it, right? Because data and insights are two very different things. There's a lot of time that we sit down thinking we've got data, hence we've got insights. But insights is intelligence about the data, and that becomes important. And that's where the entire technology world is also evolving. Nandini, obviously, you being part of PwC, you would be knowing this as well, that's the whole idea is to make sure that there's a whole lot of technologies that can help a marketer, and they all go under a very large name called as marketing technology or MarTech.
MarTech.
Right? Now, any guesses, 15 seconds more, any guesses on how many solutions are there in the MarTech landscape? I will reveal that during the workshop as well, but any idea how many? Less than 5,000, more than 5,000?
That should go into a quiz for next year now.
You will be surprised, and that's where, what Vishesh is pointing out is the fact that while marketers might have all the ideas, the business ideas in terms of how to approach a problem, you will need technology to go through and glean through that data. Remember, we've moved on very quickly from the age of the consumer to the age of the inclusive consumer. We've also moved very, very quickly from AI to generative AI. No one talks of AI these days. Right? It's all generative AI. And that, I think it was a period of about a year, 12 months, max.
Less than that, actually.
Less than that. Yeah. So, yes, there are tons of technology available. But then it has to be seen in the larger context of how does a brand view the customer engagement, journeys. But very interesting days ahead indeed.
Absolutely. But Shishir, coming to you. I mean, agriculture, you are actually at the grassroots. And across states, different cultures, ethnicities, languages. I mean, there is just so much of diversity. How do you manage that? What are the challenges you face, and how do you overcome that?
Oh, they are immense. But yeah, before that, let me thank the KIIT. It is a great privilege to be here as an alumni and after such a long time. And for this wonderful opportunity to interact with students and all seniors and professors. Thank you very much, Dr. Jaideep and Professor Jaideep and Madam Dean, Madam. Yeah, so coming back, you see in agriculture, you see, if you say over 14.5 crore farmers are registered on the platform, the Kisan Samman Yojana is there, and overnight it happened without any physical, without anything, just online. And within 3 months, when the program was launched, within 3 months, more than 14 crores people, farmers, and genuine farmers, when we are talking of, without paper, they registered. It's an immense contribution of the digital technology when we talk of inclusivity. Never before in our country ever we could have even thought of, imagined also. So that is one. Second thing, then when these farmers are there, when we deal with so many farmers, almost, though it contributes just 14, a little above than 14% in GDP, but average 50% population are still dependent on agriculture. And that's the reason why there's so much disparity, and let us not talk about the disguising employment and all. But even in the farming sector, we see immense disparity in our income. Farmers in Punjab are earning average 1.2 crores, 1.2 lakh per year, per acre. And farmers here in Kalahandi, here in Navaranpur, Malkangiri, or be it Bumla or Champur of Jharkhand or Northeast, they are earning 6 to 12,000 per year per acre. So that's the disparity. And why the disparity is there? Because inclusive access to agriculture technology is not there, inclusive access to information is not there, inclusive access to skill is not there, knowledge is not there, agri inputs are not there, products are not there. Fortunately, this digital technology is helping us bridge that gap. Now, what Punjab farmers of Punjab are having the access to, remote people in my Kalahandi district, Umarkot villages, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever there are, or in Malkangiri or any part of the country can have access to. Fortunately, people must be aware that approximately 75% of the farming household has smartphone access. And 50% of the farming household have more than 2 smartphones in their households. So that is the data, that is the grand data, and nobody is seeing. You see the you see any digital platform today, the social media platform, you will see n number, more than thousands influencers are there with more than 10 million subscriber base. Obviously, people like us in the urban cities are not watching them how to produce, how to raise goats, how to do goat farming, how to do poultry farming, how to all this. This is the way. And everybody is realizing this in this sphere, in agriculture sphere. And people are taking effort. Other day I was discussing that it's not only the consumer, even when we talk of B2B. So businesses is also a customer when we talk of B2B. And businesses and the customers are also got empowered. I remember my days when I was working here in Odisha in 1999, 2000, to communicate the product, about the product, to tell about the product, how good, how bad, why it is better than the other product, how it will improve the productivity, what all you should take care to protect the crop from pests, to protect the crop from diseases. I mean, it was immense kind of a labor that you have so many people reaching village to village, telling them, upgrading their knowledge, and then ensuring that your product are placed there. I remember every week I had to come here to Bhubaneswar just to withdraw money. Because then I can go and spend and give my team that okay. So every week I have to come, withdraw 2 lakh, 2.5 lakh, then go and spend. Because when you are doing some campaigns, when you are doing some marketing campaigns, it costs you a lot of money. You have to keep campaigning, village to village. 10 people are there in every part of the state. Wherever your products are there, wherever the season is there. Now it's all because of digital, you don't need to worry on that. People are now realizing, and why I'm saying this, because for marketers it was a big challenge. Never in your history you may have seen that on television or on newspaper, agri-inputs or seeds or pressure, or any kind of that products are being marketed. So even the customers, other businesses and the customers, are feeling empowered that now I can reach to my customers directly on their home at their convenience whenever they want, whether it is skill building or whether it is agri inputs. Coming back to businesses, small enterprises, FPOs, farmer producers organizations, or any small entrepreneur sitting in the village, they have got empowered. I mean, Amazon, you have seen the advertisement, how it is empowering the small entrepreneurs. But that is just a market access. You see small entrepreneurs from Odisha, from Jharkhand, from Bihar, Jhardi Achar, a lady who is making achar, pickle at her home, and she is being able to market across the country, across the globe, everybody access. So you are empowering everything. This is the power of digital media. And that is what we are seeing. I mean, we do it for many clients, we do it for agriculture departments, promoting what are the programs. Earlier, the only program was there to print it on a leaflet and keep on distributing. When we know, and I'm talking of rural, and forgive me for that focus, we used to give this pamphlet and we knew that it will be used, nobody will read it, we know the literacy level.
Exactly.
We don't find a document or a report which comes to go through the entire page and word by word. How can we expect them? But that was the only medium. Seeing in every offices, tons of literatures being printed, distributed, redistributed, considered a cost, and then getting it dumped and during the rains and various things, getting fungal infection and survival. Yeah. So those are the things now, and self-help also when we talk of in the digital media, when we talk about inclusivity, we see that, okay, some campaign done 6 months back, People are seeing that, people are laughing based on that, because you always give them a call to action button. They will call back, they will WhatsApp you, they will message you, they will contact you, and then, okay, you have to explain. So this is it, this is how, I mean, change this digital medium has changed the entire marketing landscape. And as Mr. told, changing very fast, very fast. So for all of us, it's a challenge to keep pace with it. And that is the only way forward. That's all I think I can say for now.
No, I think there was a time where you would recollect companies like Lever and all would send their vans with products to the heart. That was the way marketing was being done. Yeah, we've done. But you mentioned digital, I understand, but what about the farmers or people who are not educated, cannot read and write? How are they actually making it possible for them?
You see, design thinking, I think all of us are aware of. You see, it's such a powerful tool, people are taking that into consideration. Now, village people can see how to communicate on WhatsApp. You cannot write, don't bother, you just know that yes, this is a microphone button, I can press, I can speak on. And then the technologies, they are able to, and they are communicating so fast. I've seen people in the village, communicate, or they just speak a photo and say, this is the problem, what action we should take.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so many things are happening. I mean, I don't come across a village, even if I go to my village or any people, if people are there from village, they can reply. Every people who you think are not able to read and write are having a Facebook account, are using social media. So that technology has taken us so far, I mean, and so fast. So that is, so design thinking is immense. Everybody is working on that, how we can make the illiterate people read a use my technology. And that technologists are taking care of, and it has helped everyone.
So, Nandini, just a quick addition to what you said, because I work with a lot of startups in the agri-tech space. They rely on two V's, vernacular and voice. Okay. So, vernacular and voice, and it becomes so easy. From an agri-tech perspective, there are two aspects. One is about weather, and second is about disease control. I mean, ye dono agar ho gaya, to a farmer is pretty much on his way. And in both, for example, when he talked about the photographs, right, disease, he doesn't even need to know the disease. He just needs to take a snap and send it out.
And you can put messages on voice and they can just hear it over there.
Yes, you have. Sorry. Have technology that just by clicking the photograph, you will get the recommendation. That these are with the AI and with the data management, all those big data and all those things people are using, that he's calling from which place. Because every data is being captured as you said. That whenever you are using a Facebook, whenever you're using a Google, whatever you're using, so every data is being captured. And as soon as you click a photo, okay, this photo has come from this village, this area, this agroclimatic concern, that is the rain or moisture or humidity or what would be the insect pest incidence level at that time. Based on that, they come up with recommendations. You use this crop, this pesticide or this fungicide or bioorganic, whatever. So complete package is given to them. You can read it, you can hear it. And I'm seeing farmers using technology like none of us use. I mean, I'm still hesitant to use that word to text or text to word. And they are very comfortably using that. They are the ones who are really using word-to-speech technologies. So, literacy is no more a barrier.
One more point to this. So, Shishir spoke about two ways. There are actually three ways: voice, vernacular, and video. Which is why you see there's huge penetration of YouTube in our country. Which is why you have people making videos, channels are gaining so prominence in the far off, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities. Because they may not be able to write, but they can see things. Also, voice is again a prominent feature. In fact, this was shocking to me as well. So, in my Mumbai house, we bring Ganpati every year. So, and we call a Panditji from Banaras. So, a couple of years back, while we arranged for the puja samagri and everything, I said I have to rush. I told the Panditji, you know, I'll ask the security guard downstairs to take you to the market. He said, no, I'll figure out. I said, oh, how will you figure out you're coming here for the first time? He said, no, I'll do that. What he did, he opened Google and clicked on voice search and he said, गोरेगांव में पास में पूजा सामग्री की दुकानें कहाँ पर है? And trust me, I was shocked because I could try to call myself a digital marketer. I have not used that voice feature so far in my life. And a Panditji is using it to figure out a shop within the nearby area. So that was a kind of revelation for me also. Probably we are underestimating, underplaying our tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities. But because all thanks to internet, all thanks to platforms like YouTube, all thanks to this kind of ecosystem, they are far ahead of us, you know, in a lot of things.
They say, no, Indians for the ingenuity or their jugaad. We are very
Absolutely.
good at that and we figure out some way as a means to an end.
True.
No, I tell you.
I tell you, whenever I go to village, I mean, my work takes me around, I mean, I have to be 20%, or 50%, more than 50% of the time in the village only interacting. Every time I go to a village and see the rural farmers interacting on the smartphones, it is a new revelation. I mean, it is definitely a new revelation. Something which I have never used and I never knew also, forget about using. I never knew also, this way also it can be used. Because we are so much used to, and you know, I mean, anything, learning new technology or something, that's itself a big resistance. Everybody has that. They don't have that. So they have a good learning. They know how to use the technology. And technologists have made it aware that education or literacy is now more a barrier at all.
Okay, coming to you. We are all talking about technology and how it can be used, and you are the techie over here. So what is your advice for marketing people like us on having good digital marketing strategies using technology effectively?
Sure. Thanks, Nandini. I'll take a step back. I've heard some of my fellow panelists, and I want to first set the context of inclusivity, right? And, I'll relate when I met Nandini in the morning today, and it was like an out-of-syllabus kind of a moment. The moment I entered the room, she said that, so how do you manage inclusivity at KAS Software? And I was like, oh, I looked outside, but I didn't really look within. So, and I started thinking, and then we had a little bit of a debate on B2C and B2B and whether inclusivity is consumer focused or business focused. And I pretty much think that inclusivity, like innovation, they say, is company-wide, and it's not really a thought or a practice of one particular team or the innovation team. Inclusivity is a central encompassing theme, so to say. So both as much applicable from a consumer standpoint, and if we extend the consumer definition to customer, also applicable to the enterprise customer, right? Setting in the context, I'm carrying a very big example in my hand today of consumer inclusivity. Any guesses on that while I speak? So that's the Reynolds 045 pen out here, right? This is one of the most widespread pens that most of us had used. And it reached out to the executive, reached out to the student, and I don't know how many of you know that the production for Reynolds 045, as I hear, has been stopped. So if you're using these are last of the lot being available in Amazon or in some stores. This is one of the biggest examples of consumer inclusivity. So what is consumer inclusivity? It's about diversity, it's about reach, it's about messaging. And if I just summarize some of my thoughts, what Shiju had said, and he spoke about B2C. Let's again take a step back and look at the fact that we talk about know your customer, but the other edge of the pie is really reaching out to the customer, right? And that's where also inclusivity comes in. Coming to your question now, in terms of, from a technology perspective, or if I relate it to the B2B perspective, what is the advent or what is the concept of inclusivity? And I'll, speak about an enterprise like the one which I represent, which is a multinational spread in about 12 odd countries. And I look at two aspects of inclusivity. One is the product messaging and the company messaging. So we present in countries like, apart from India, UK and US, China, Taiwan, France, Spain and others, right? So now if you look at all these countries, so there is encompassing messaging or a global messaging on the product, and the country leaders have a messaging where even on LinkedIn you'll find some of the advertisements which are written in French, and they are reaching out to their targeted audience. So while there is an overarching and encompassing theme, there is also a local reach. And one of the biggest examples of that is, I don't know how many of you on the B2C side remember the Cadbury advertisement of Shah Rukh Khan, which was released during the pandemic, right? Now, if you remember the advertisement, that was using artificial intelligence, back to your point on how to use technology for inclusivity. So the Shah Rukh Khan's image was through AI. I don't know whether morph is the right word, but it was used to take the name of local retailers, right? So Shah Rukh Khan's, so there were about 500 pin codes which were mapped, and there were local retailers of those 500 pin codes, and the ad being relayed in Odisha, for example, or Delhi, spoke about the Bikaner wala, in Gurgaon or in Delhi, or where you could get your Cadbury's hamper from, right? So that really is inclusivity. Coming back to the B2B side, inclusivity in customer outreach and in-reach. So I talked about innovation, right? So innovation is a central theme, and innovation is not of any particular department, as they say. So why should sales or why should revenue, be an onus only of the sales team? It's an onus of the company, because if you don't get money, whether you're in agriculture, whether you're in Bajaj, Finserv, or any company which is making money, it is not only the responsibility of the person who's the feet on street. So having said that, really, let's look at who brings in inclusivity out here. And how do you bring inclusivity? So you have, say, in our company, you've got a tech support team, right? Or the technical account managers, so to say. So the technical account managers are attached to the global systems integrators, right? Now they bring in customer requirements which come to the table. They're not in a lead generation role, but they bring in customer requirements. The sales guy brings in customer requirements. The pre-sales team brings in customer requirements. The marketing person or marketing research understands the market, understands what are the feelers from the market and brings in customer requirements. So that again is inclusivity.
So in the last bit, what is very important is the measurement. Whatever we do at the end of the day, are we measuring? Who among you, Amrinder, would you like to pick up? Are you measuring inclusivity in some way?
Yes, inclusivity, basically we use inclusivity as a strategy. So we capture, as Akhil mentioned, in B2B segment, this is the major thing what we use inclusivity for. So now for doing this, we have CRM software. We use it for measuring the customers, like how many customers we have approached, how many customers we are able to convert. This is a regular process. We use feedback forms, like every equipment or machine we supply each machine with a tab, and also we give a user ID and password to the customer. So any kind of requirements, like spares requirement, service requirement, we immediately come to know, and that is already registered, because if it is not captured then and there, then it gets unnoticed. Yeah. So to have a online and instantaneous approach to us and customer approachability, we ensure that these details are taken then and there. So we ensure that customers' requirements or customer satisfaction, dissatisfaction, or any other point he want to improve upon. So we all capture this through this iPads or tabs what we provide with the machine. So this is one of our tools to reach to the customer. Other than that, I think these are the two major tools we use.
And in our ecosystem, so while the beauty about digital is everything is trackable and measurable. Okay, that's probably the best part how digital has democratized the entire marketing effort. Okay, so like I said, when we created a women investor community, so what we also did along with it, we engaged a couple of tools. Say, for example, a tool like MoEngage, for the end-to-end communication piece, engagement tool.
Yeah.
We also deployed Adobe, and we created separate landing pages. So, while we make an effort towards bringing more women into the ecosystem, we are also tracking what kind of engagement they have with us, B, how much our packs they are subscribed. Let's say we have a BPC, Bajaj professional pack. What kind of traction we have from women investor? Okay, that's so that we know that the effort is not just mere tokenism. Also, like we spoke about, there are, as we speak, the data says maximum traction from within the stockbroking space comes from tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities. Okay. Now, again, the problem being some of them can write, some of them can read, other things. So what we are also doing is we have the entire campaign, in multiple formats. So we have, campaign being rolled out in multiple, through video, through audio, and through textual means, just to cater to their requirements. When we do that, we also look at, so how, interesting point I just want to bring in here. People say that data science, analytics, AI will take away jobs from, from the industry. My viewpoint is it will not take away the jobs, it will change the skill set required, and it will also change how you equip your team. Say, for example, till couple of years back, you had one campaign manager running campaigns and 10 people, writing, producing, those campaign pieces. You have writers because you had to do scale, Now the entire equation has changed. You have one writer because you have so many tools to create content, and you have 10 campaign managers because your same campaign is being rolled out basis the data sets, like he spoke about personality 1, personality 2, personality 3, 4, 5, 6, and different people are rolling out their campaign basic the personas and tracking every metric. So we have a super investor, we have an active trader, how much they're trading, how much, right from awareness to monetization, consideration, at every stage we track. You have, like I spoke about, the tools, through which you can also track the engagement, and in the end, for a brand, ultimately you're adding, business numbers. So how many of them are converting, Only then it's inclusiveness. Because if the person is not dealing with you, whether, from race, from gender, caste, creed, religion, if they're not different kind of people are coming to your ecosystem and dealing with you in real sense, that's so these are some of the ways technically through which we can track these efforts. Yes.
If I can just, bring one point and just to inject some humor and also bring a relevant point. So a lot of us would be in the receipt of these spam calls which we get on the phone every now and then, right? So I was on the road and with my wife sitting next to me, and then there was a call, and over the few days there was a series of similar kind of calls, and I took it on the Bluetooth, and the call was a loan being offered, right? A personal loan being offered. And my wife was asking me that, what have you done that you're getting so many calls for a personal loan, right? So look back. I mean, this is consumer inclusivity where segmentation is not done, right? I probably don't require a loan, but they're kind of giving an inclusive message across all demographics, across all income segments, and passing on one particular message on a blast. So inclusivity could have also have its negatives when you are trying to reach out with a common message which does not need to be there for a particular audience.
Probably they have not done their segmentation right. They did not have a person like him building those CDPs.
Plus having a person within the organization who's going to make sure that there is a governance on the content that is going out.
Right.
Who's sensitive about that. I think
No,
that is very important.
You see, today with so much AI and machine learning, it's very much possible to create, based on the persona which Vishesh was talking of, the personalized messages or personalized content.
Yeah.
That's why so many content creators are required. Campaign managers are required more than the content creators, because content creators, I mean, with tools you can make so many contents, which earlier you used to do a lot of thinking and so many things based on all those inputs you give, you will get. But personalized, when you also simultaneously, I am relaying the messages, but based on the income, based on the education, based on the geography, based on the urban or rural or village women, illiterate women, all the profiles you said, they will get a different kind of a content, different kind of a product than a person who is educated, urban, more than 5 lakh income per month, so kind of. So those are today possible, rather than what Akhil was saying, that same message going to everyone. I will say that today if somebody is doing it, it's really a careless marketer. He's not doing his job well. That's all I can say.
Absolutely, and just on that, another point, so inclusivity does not need to really mean that you encompass all the customer segments. One very simple example is the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, financial inclusion, right? So you're reaching out to a particular segment, which is the underprivileged, and you're giving them financial inclusion or meeting their financial needs, but it's inclusive to that particular segment.
So we run out of time. So last one to you, Siju. You picked up the mic. Half a minute to you.
What I was trying to say is, let's not get too hard on the marketers, saying that, sending out spam messages and all. Because you need to understand one thing. Back when I was a kid, there were only 2 sets of people. My age group and my parents' age group. Right? Now today, the biggest challenge that you folks as marketers face is the fact that there are n numbers of cohorts. Right? Most of the folks sitting out here are millennials. Right? At the risk of insulting Vishesh, we are all Gen X. Right? And you have the Gen Z, and now as if that wasn't enough, we have Gen, which is the next one? Alpha. That's going to be the craziest generation ever, right? That's going to turn all our lives upside down. So when you have such cohorts, that's where you need technology to manage those kind of micro aspects of those cohorts. Get to a point where you need personas.
Yeah.
If there are 1 million people in your target segment, you can't reach out to 1 million.
All of them,
right? So maybe you will divide them into 6 cohorts. Are 8 cohorts better? Maybe yes. But maybe 8 cohorts are not needed, like Akhil said, right? You need to know what you need.
And you will customize the communication.
And you'll customize your communication accordingly. So there are chances that you'll get it wrong.
Shishir, I'm going to be called and said that I've not moderated. We run out of time.
Just 1 minute I will take. You see, the original question is you talked about how do we measure actually. So measurement with data, with this IT has become very, very easy today. Earlier you had to do lot of manual calculation, collection of data. Today, all the platforms, whatever platforms you use, YouTube, Facebook, Insta, Twitter, everybody gives their own dashboards where you can measure all the matrices, which geography, which profile, which age group, which income set, everything. And you promote also based on that only. So you get that data set. The only limitation which I find using them is that they don't give you a trend, because they give you a real-time data, so you have to capture every time, or at best they give you some 1 month or 2 month data. But what you can do is there are so many platforms which have come up which give you, where you can host all your social media platforms. And then they capture all your real-time data based on what interval you set, we want to capture daily basis or weekly basis of food, and then they will give you a trend. So today, even data measurement, which was a chaos, which was a nightmare earlier, I have done this campaign, I need to know what is the ROI, I need to know what is the effectiveness, I need to know what is the conversion rate, I need to know how many customers, I mean, because ultimately all this we do to understand how much dhanda aaya mere paas, kitne log mera purchase kiye. Those things have become very possible, especially in online though.
You'll also get workshop time,
Yeah,
so you can talk about
So
that.
I think you can see the passion that is coming out
Yeah.
among all of us. as
So anyone who
marketeers.
has not registered for his workshop, please do. He also has a workshop lined up. So see, the point being, at least if we can take couple of questions.
Vishesh, now you have 10 seconds.
Okay, nothing.
Okay, so there is a lot over here, but let me try and sum up to the best that I can. I think one, inclusivity is not just a social concern anymore, and it's critical that we don't do tone-deaf marketing and we understand the sensitivities that are there. The way to go around that, CDP, we spoke about it, where overlapping of data can be there properly. There is a research required, and it's important to have diverse groups also over there to make sure that we understand the social issues, understand the different public sentiment that is there, and we don't end up losing customers, losing dhanda, as you put it just now. And then technology, most important, like Akhil said, is what can actually bring all that together. You know, the social listening tools, the insights, actually the insights from the data can be humongous, but actually are you able to take out relevant insights that you put to use? We talked of measurement, which is so important, inclusivity, measurement, you know, whether your demographics, are they engaging? What is it that is actually happening with the demographics we identified through the research? That is one. The internal governance mechanism, very important again, to make sure like we don't have issues like Hindustan Lever had on Fair and Lovely and Fair and Handsome and then Glow and Lovely. I mean, there has to be somebody who's internally looking at to see what is happening. And then the age of inclusive customer, which you spoke about, the vernacular, voice and video, which is very important, the way to get across to everybody, and the fact that information now is democratized and everybody has access to it, so it's very important. It again boils down to the fact, do you know your customer? Do you know what needs? Do you know who all could be your customer? And are you sensitive to what is being put out? I think with today's discussion, hopefully, we've given you good food for thought, and we've also sensitized you so that tomorrow, when you go out into the market and when you are looking at marketing, you don't think of it as just something good to do, but something which is very important when it comes to business. It makes a lot of business sense. And so with that, let me bring the session to a conclusion. And unless there is some question, do we have time for questions? I don't know. Then let's open it up if there is any question anybody wants to ask. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello.
That's okay.
Namaskar everyone. On behalf of MBA1, I wish all the panelists good morning. Sir, my question is for Mr. Siju Narayan, sir. So you specifically talked about the pace at which the perspective of companies changed. And we did not really have time to adjust with it. And my question is, as marketers and students of management, can we actually predict what's next? Or do we just have to wait and watch what the Gen Alpha creates and have to cooperate with them?
I guess I'm paying the price for handing you the microphone. No, jokes apart. Can we predict? No one. No one can predict. Right? Now it's all about see, either you are Steve Jobs or you're not Steve Jobs. right? Assuming that we are not Steve Jobs. So what we do is how best and how fast do we react to situations? That's speed to market or speed to react. That's critical. If you attempt to predict, then you should be absolutely sure that you're not only predicting n, you're predicting n plus 1 and n plus 2 and n plus 3. That can become quite a bit of a problem. You can use technology to do it, but end of the day, it has to be balanced against the realities. And like Shishir said, whatever happens, a business has to make money, unless it's in the social sector, right? So that's a long-winded answer to your question.
No, I think, see, nobody's a Nostradamus over here. But what you do is you use data, you look at historical data, and then you try and predict what might happen. But there is no surety. Who would have thought of Gen AI last year, that there is going to be something which is really going to make so much of a difference in the work that we're doing, that a lot of operational tasks is going to move off. I think now the question is, what are the new jobs that are going to get created for the people who are there? So prompt engineering, for example, is being spoken about. Maybe some of you know what that is. That can you give the right prompts to ChatGPT so that you get what you want? And the other one is governance. You know, that how is, which is another job this is going to be created, that who is looking after the ethics piece, the plagiarism piece, the governance of it? You know, so who could have predicted that these kind of jobs would be there? And you'll find as we go along, there'll be so much more which we would never have imagined that we're going to get to see. Any other question, anybody? Or we can close the session.
Hello. Yeah. Hello, esteemed guest. Hello, everyone. My question is that what are the strategies for digital marketing that we can take for customers who are coming from diverse background and different abilities?
Sorry, didn't get your name?
My name is Rick Chakravarti.
Rick.
Yes, sir.
So, Rick, you know, the kind of ecosystem we live in, you can't have a very static strategy. You know, you need to have a very dynamic strategy to cater to your consumers. What we call A, planning, B, creation, C, optimization. You also need to, so the beauty of digital is you create something basis the data sets you have. You make sure the same is distributed in a manner that it reaches out to your customers and is also discoverable. So, you know, distribution and discovery is very important in today's scheme of things. And while you do that, you monitor the performance so that you understand how it's performing, whether it needs some sort of optimization or not. Which is where the concept of A/B test comes into picture. That when you create something and you make it discoverable to your consumer targets, you also make sure that you keep trying A/Bs. I'll give you a very interesting example of this. So when we did the entire rebranding for Angel One, we made it from Angel Broking to Angel One. The CTAs, the call to action, all the CTAs, so we had about 3-4 colors in our brand palette, the primary, colors I'm talking about. So initially we did all the CTAs in yellow, okay. They gave us some results, but not something we wanted. Then we made them in green, okay. Again, it was good, but not something. The last resort and the last option we used was orange. That was one of the color in our palette, and we thought it's very tacky and from a brand viewpoint doesn't look good. They were
saffron works.
Sorry, it worked. It worked brilliantly. It worked brilliantly, so much so that if you go to Angel One's platform today, all of their CTAs are in orange. And orange is being used prominently, across their platform, the creatives, everywhere, because that worked for us. Now, if you ask me, did we deploy any strategy? No, there was no strategy. We kept trying. We did A/B testing. We kept trying. So this is how. A, you need to make sure that whatever you're creating is basis the data sets. B, is distributed in a manner that it's discoverable to anyone, and C, you optimize basis the MIS, the dashboard, the numbers, the results you keep getting, and keep trying ABs. And that's how you will probably figure out. Yeah.
I will add just 2 points on that. And it's very good question came up. You see, first is, all of you are doing promotion mix. Now, promotion mix, digital marketing is not just one component. Within digital marketing, there are so many things. You have email marketing, you have Facebook, you have Insta, you have YouTube, and every platform has a strength, has a weakness. So you have to do the SWOT analysis. Which works where? Like Insta, and these platforms also every day promoting on through various medias. Why you should, as a marketer, you should use their platforms. How they are also trying to reach more and more people. Somehow we saw that Instagram is not very popular in Bihar, Eastern India, where we are working, but they're very popular in Maharashtra. So most of the farmers in Maharashtra you will find using Instagram. Not much of, and most of the influencers, Instagram, they are very popular, but not popular in Bihar. Bihar, Facebook is popular. So that mix you have to see based on the data, where you are working, what objective you have, and which will work best for you. Like farmers, if I'm talking of email marketing, may not work because who will open their email though? I mean, if they have to use a platform, any social media to get Android, you have to have a Gmail. So they keep on making a Gmail and then lose it and then again make a new Gmail. So that does not work. Second thing, what we say, talked of color. You see, we Indians are very sensitive to color, and having worked in remote rural areas, every part of the country you will see different kinds of colors. You visit the festivals, local festivals of that region. Rajasthan, for example, very bright colors. For many marketers, for their own branding, they will look, no, I want only young generation, or I want only this, so I need yellow, or I want to, sustainable, so green. All those colors at some point of time become very vague, as Vishesh talked of. So you will have to do those experimentation and see, or maybe, when I'm talking about customization, you may have to have a compromise on your color also sometimes. I don't know.
I think let's bring it to a close there.
Sorry, yeah.
We all are over here. Any questions you have, I think we'll all be very happy to answer that. And I think we already overrun our time. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the discussion.
We had an excellent panel discussion. Now I request Professor Kumar Mohanty, Director Corporate Relations, KIIT University, to felicitate our guests. So please join us. Moderator of our panel, Ms. Nandini Chatterjee. Ma'am, please. Mr. Amarendranath Sasmal. Mr. Siju Narayan. Mr. Vishesh Sharma. Mr. Shishir Ranjan. Mr. Shishir Ranjan, sir. Mr. Akhil Minocha. As part of the conclave, we are conducting 6 workshops. For that, we welcome Mr. Saikat K. Das, Global Manager Product Marketing, Kendra. So please join us on stage. All right. We'd like to welcome Mr. Sekat K. Das, so please join us on stage.
When we have our alums here, their favorite teacher cannot be left behind.
Mr. Amitosh Pal, Associate Vice President and National Sales Director, ABP Networks Private Limited. So please join us on stage. Mr. Vipul Rawat, Group Head Wavemaker. So kindly join us on stage. Thank you, sir. Our alumni are like the pillars of a grand edifice upon which the success and reputation of our institution rest. Your hard work, determination, and resilience have not only shaped your own lives, but have also inspired countless others who have followed in your footsteps. It is truly an honor and privilege to welcome and felicitate our esteemed alumni. I request Professor Sumita Mishra, Dean KIIT School of Management, to join us on stage for felicitating our alumni. Ma'am, please. We are delighted to welcome Mr. Shishir Ranjan, esteemed alumnus 1995-97 batch, for receiving the Distinguished Alumni Awards 2023. So kindly join us. So could you just speak few words for us?
Yeah, it's a great honor to have this recognition, especially from your alma mater. And I really thank a lot. It gives me an inspiration to keep on working towards the goal or aim I have taken in my life towards the inclusive growth of farming community in the country. I am sure I will carry on the legacy of KIIT and KSOM in particular forever. Thank you very much, KIIT. Thank you very much, KSOM. Thank you, Dean Ma'am, and thank you all staff and students of KIIT. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We are proud to honor Mr. Akhil Minocha, 1995-97 batch, for receiving Distinguished Alumni Awards 2023. So join us. I would request sir to speak few words for us.
Thank you, Professor Dean Ma'am, and to everyone out here at KIIT School of Management. It's really a good homecoming moment for me and Shishir, I'm sure, like he said. And it really makes me nostalgic, takes me back to 95, 97. And, when we passed out of what at that time was just the seeds of the institute, and not a very impressive campus at that point of time. But I remember that during our farewell, there was a mention of the seed really gradually growing into a tree. And today we see that it's flourished to much more than a tree, and the KIIT University is so massive in terms of infrastructure, in terms of reach and recognition. So proud to be an alumni of KIIT University and KIIT School of Management. And thank you everyone for having me out here. Thank you.
Two of our esteemed alumni have joined us remotely for Distinguished Alumni Awards. While we may be separated by physical distances, our shared bond and the spirit of our institution brings us closer together today. Today, we proudly honor Mr. Subhamay Das, an esteemed alumnus, 1995-97 batch, Director Regional Transport, IT DHL Supply Chain Germany, for his remarkable achievements as a strategic leader with 20 plus years of experience in complex IT program management and transformational logistics operations across multiple countries. With this engaging management style, he has led teams to find creative solutions to intricate problems. We also are proud to honor Mr. Anishu K. Varghese, an esteemed alumnus, 1996-98 batch, Global Internal Communications leader, author, and speaker for his exceptional contributions over 22 years. He has received prestigious accolades including IABC APAC Communicator of the Year 2022 and PRCI's Hall of Fame winner 2015. An accomplished author, his books include Inclusive Internal Communications 2023, Internal Communications Insights, Practices and Models 2012, and Get Intentional 2021. Now I request Mr. Subhamay Das to say a few words.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, perfect. Okay, first and foremost, I would like to thank KIIT School of Management for the Distinguished Alumni Award. I'm delighted, truly humbled, and I wish I could be there in person to meet you all. Right, I'm also grateful to all the professors who were there in 95, 97, all my mentors, and definitely my batchmates, right? The journey has been incredible. Akhil was mentioning about the journey of the infrastructure, but it's much beyond that. It's not only the infrastructure, it's not only the professional journey. I think also on the personal front, it has been a transformative journey for all of us. So my only advice to the fellow students who are going to come out of KIIT School of Management is enjoy this journey. It's going to transform your lives in much more ways than what you can think right now. So enjoy the journey and keep that community up, because your friends, your alumni, your batchmates are going to shape your life in the near future. Again, thank you, KIIT School of Management. Truly honored and humbled to receive this award.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Mr. Anishu K. Varghese to say a few words.
Thank you again for inviting me and honoring me. I'm very humbled as well to receive this honor. It's a great privilege to be in this esteemed company of great alumni and great leaders who are there. To me, also, it has been a immensely transformative journey. I believe the institute and the university has been a great influence in my life, in my personal life as well. And I'm really touched by this particular honor. The fact that I have been able to keep in touch and give back to the community in ways that matter has also been extremely humbling. So I'm really, really delighted. Thank you again for this particular honor. And I really wish the university a fantastic future, and wish all the participants out there and all my peers, my batchmates, my seniors especially, who have guided and mentored me along this journey. So thank you so much. Appreciate all that you all do, and love to continue this contribution and connection with the students in the community. So thank you again.
Thank you, sir. We express our sincere gratitude to the panelists and our alumni for joining us today amidst their busy schedules. Their valuable insights and thoughtful analysis greatly enriched our discussions on various topics. Thank you for your time and contributions to the success of our event.
I request Professor Kumar Mohanty, Director Corporate Relations, KIIT University, to propose vote of thanks. Professor Mohanty has over 25 years of diverse experience in marketing, retail, and education, and has proven a track record of delivering value to organizations. He has worked in various roles, such as a regional head to national head of companies like Nico Corporation, Jensen & Nicholson, Phenolux Cables, and IMS. So please come to the stage.
I think this is that part of a session where everybody says, yaar, jaldi khatam kar. Every audience, students, participants, good afternoon, everybody. I think on behalf of the university and on behalf of School of Management, I would definitely like to thank, first and foremost, all the guests, the panelists, the workshop facilitators, for having spared their valuable time and having come out here. I would also like to thank my colleagues from the corporate relation team who were instrumental in getting the guests out here, event on event on event, and my faculty colleagues for having developed this so very well. A special thanks to the convener, Professor Joydeep, for a brilliant context setting. I normally say something which I will change because I have been branded as the Indigo director by first-year students. I got this feedback from one of our faculties. I normally say boys and girls. And I got this feedback and I was amused that our students actually are following up on what brands do, what companies do. When I say boys and girls on the stage, I was given the tag of being a director Indigo. Thank you so very much. I would love to be there any days at any point of time though. But I think, dear students, it was brilliant having you here, sitting and looking at the panelists, listening to them, listening to what they were deliberating on. And I guess you've been here for more than 2.5 hours now. So your resilience, your patience just talks about the fact that you are the future leaders of tomorrow. The panel was very nicely summed up by Nandini, the convener, in terms of what was discussed. But what I would also like to bring in here, something that Professor Sumita talked about in the beginning in terms of, and even Professor Joy talked about at the beginning about the KIIT and the KISS ecosystem, about the sustainability and the inclusiveness that we have inside the system. I would like to bring to the notice of the panelists and the workshop facilitators from the industry that this is a university with a difference, because as why I say university with a difference is because we don't look at students' employability, we look at students' deployability. And when I say looking at students' deployability, that's where corporates like you play a big role. And we start that right in the beginning of the early semester of the students, be it engineering, be it management, be it law, be it biotechnology. And the whole idea is we look at industry as academic partners to develop, co-create courses, look at having centers of excellence, looking at life problems. And till yesterday when I was in Bombay, I'm happy to announce to the students of MBA first year, you would be working, Professor Joydeep and me have discussed, companies like Nestle, companies like Pepsi have actually agreed to look at their live case studies being thrown back to students like you to work upon. So just a pointer to the fact that we want students to actually be industry ready, and not just students who would just complete their MBA degree listening to a class, probably what Siju and me did during our days in XIMB 25 years back. So I must say thank you so very much for all of you for having been there. For the students, before I end, can I ask you to clap for yourselves? You've been a wonderful audience. I'm tempted to say boys and girls, but I will not say boys and girls. You've been a wonderful audience, dear students. And all the corporate guests here, thank you so very much. And I must mention a special thanks to somebody who's here right amidst us from PwC, a partner from PwC who's been instrumental in helping us partner in schools of technology and school of management. Can we hear it for Mr. Asutosh Chand? Courtesy him, we signed 4 MOUs with Pricewaterhouse in 4 different areas in engineering, and we look forward to developing a couple of more courses. I'm not spilling all the beans here because I had a meeting with the head of talent for Pricewaterhouse day before yesterday in Bombay. You will obviously see a lot of corporate guests being part of the academic curriculum. And so I think I will try to wind up here. Thank you so very much. The workshops are due to start immediately. And once again, thank you.
With that, we come to an end of this event. Thank you for being a part of this transformative event, and we look forward to seeing the positive impact we can collectively create.
We have a short tea break for 20 minutes. We kindly request our guests to join for tea in the conference hall. Students, please be seated till the guests leave. Tea break has been arranged for you outside the auditorium. After the tea break, please join your allotted workshops. Thank you and have a great day.